Let's look at the use of functions in Python. And the thing you need to remember here is the function of functions is to make your life easier. So anytime you have some sort of operation that needs to be done several times, that is a candidate for making it into a function. For example, what we have here in front of us is a short program to basically allow me to show you this function. And the purpose of this function is just to calculate the area of a circle. And if your program, whatever you're working on, has several locations where the area of a circle needs to be calculated, let's make it into a function. So here is that function. And here's what happens in the function. Of course, DEF says this is a function. The name of the function is calculate area of circle. Again, this is a very meaningful name, and you can just glance at it and know what it's doing. Now this is what we're going to send to this function from the main part of the program. Radius input by user. There again, this is very straightforward naming, and you can glance at it and pretty well tell what's going on. Now there's a comment here. Calculates and returns the area of a circle given the radius. Uses MathPy for precision. Since we have these meaningful names here, we really don't need this, but just for the purposes of helping you understand what's going on here, I put these in. So inside the function, we're going to do the calculation. So the area of circle, again a meaningful name, is found by pi r squared. So we're getting the value of pi from the math library up here, and we're doing an import as part of the main program, and we're doing that for precision. You could use a name constant here and say pi equals 3.14159, for example, and that's a pretty good approximation. This is a better approximation. So we're basically going to multiply that by the radius input by the user, which is what's going to be passed to this function, and that radius needs to be squared. And then this function returns this value. So this is a function that actually returns a value, and it needs a value sent to it, and we call this a parameter. So now let's see how this works. So this part here is actually the function and its definition. So here's the main program, and we just have a complementary print here to tell us what this program is going to do. And then we have a variable here called radius input by user, and we're going to allow float values here. And this statement here is going to this is a combination statement where we give it the prompt, and at the same time, when we get back the response to the prompt, we turn that into or the Python turns that into a float and then stores it in this variable. Now, again, radius input by user, that's a variable name, but we can glance at that and say, well, I know what that is. Meaningful variable names. We could actually, and I'll show you this later, we can even make this a little slicker. So the next thing that happens here, and again, here's a comment, but do we really need it? Here's a comment, do we really need it? Because we have meaningful variable names? No, not really. So here we're going to assign the results of this to this variable, calculated area of circle. And what we're doing here is this calls our function, okay, and sends it a parameter, a value. And in this case, it's radius input by user, which is what we just got up here from the user. So say I enter 10 here, that's what's going to be passed to this function, and this value gets mapped onto that, and in this case they happen to have the same name, they don't have to. And then this is used internally for the calculation, and whatever is returned here, this calculation, is what is stored in this variable. And then finally we just have a print statement here to display the results. To sum this up, you want to consider using a function for or in any situation where something needs to happen. Some people actually say more than once, or several times, and it both simplifies your code and it makes it easier on you. You don't have to produce this code everywhere you want to calculate the area of a circle. You just call the function. And you can also take this and use it in other programs, so that that as well saves you time and effort. And to actually use the function, in the first place, the way this program is set up, we have to get a value for the radius from the user. That's what happens here. So whatever the user enters here is converted into a float if possible and stored in this variable. And the function is called, this is the name of the function. The radius input by user is what is sent to the function. And at the function, or in the function, that radius value is what's used to do the actual calculation to find the area of the circle with that radius, and that is returned to the main program, the calling program, and that's stored in this variable, again, meaningful name, and then we print out the results, or we use it for whatever purpose we really need to use it for. Keep in mind, functions are your friend. It makes your life easier and less likely for you to make a mistake. If you had to copy this same code, maybe 5 different places in your program, you may make a mistake. And there's also benefits here if you, for example, if something inside of a function that you define uses a constant or some value that's subject to change, like cut scores, and we ran into those in the admissions program. You can set those up as named constants in your function, and then there's only one place that you have to worry about changing those values if they need to be changed. So functions are your friend, as are meaningful variable names, meaningful function names, named constants. These are all good programming practices, and if you use meaningful variable names, meaningful function names, etc., you really don't need a whole lot of comments, and that's going to make your life easier as well.